Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's your boy Trey and my man Bishop, and we're here. Get ready to fall in this first formation morning sports talk. Hey, Bishop, how you doing, bruh?
Hey, what's going on, Trey? How you doing, man? It's a Tuesday, man, after MLK Day. Hopefully, this finds everyone having a great Tuesday, enjoying their after enjoying their MLK Day. And of course, we had one super wild card game left last night in the NFC. So big ups to that game. I'm sure we're gonna get into it. But hey Trey, don't we got some guests that's supposed to jump on the show today with first formation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They'll be on there. I know one of Mr. Mike Barker. He's working his situation. Got to do some
His
updates
technical
so that way he'll
difficulties.
be his technical difficulties. And then of course saying other than Kimberly Greene will be on, so she can tell us how what went down at the Mariko Gray MG33 Military Basketball Tournament. So of course saying it's going to be a good time as well as we go
Mhm.
through these hot topics and commentaries. Saying business as usual. First formation back, everyone back to formation, back to work, get ready for all
What's
in so
going
you
on,
can get it
Erica?
in.
Good morning. Good morning, Erica. Good morning. Appreciate you.
So of course, saying so it's no problem, but saying like you said, get down to business so we can give everybody that information so they could go ahead, we can get them out and get to their day. So of course, yesterday, if anyone didn't know, it wasn't tracking, especially for y'all Raiders fans out there, the Las Vegas Raiders went ahead and fired general manager Mike Mayock after his third season. So now that makes three teams in the NFL that are currently looking for a GM and coach all in the same breath. Do you
Facts.
think, given the situation, especially in Las Vegas, do you think that was a a Warner firing for the most part? Because Mike Mayock went 25-24 as a GM during the 3-year tenure. He They went to the playoffs. Did make it to the playoffs this year.
Right.
But of course,
Got that
he
down.
was the catalyst behind a couple of erroneous personnel movements, i.e., um, Antonio Brown, and a couple of others. So, do you think that was warranted for them to go ahead and fire, or should they have given an opportunity to bring in another coach and keep it moving? What's going on, fellas? Strack, Jordan, how you doing? Good morning. Welcome to formation.
Yeah. So that's kind of hard for me, Trey. To be honest with you, man. Excuse me. I know that. Yeah. He had helped bring in a few of those individuals who are no longer with the team and so forth and so on. But I feel like you can't put all the blame on him. You know what I'm saying? So I say he deserved like Jordan. I feel like he deserves another chance. He should have gotten another opportunity. I think Mike Mayock is probably a pretty decent general manager. Again, they did go to the playoffs, so you can't ignore that fact. I feel like they should have given them an opportunity to see what would happen with a new quarterback. I mean, a new head coach, because the things in which would happen with the former coach, excuse me, the former coach of the Raiders, was no fault of his. So it is what it is. That was something that was in his past. So of course that's probably something he didn't know about himself. So that you can't blame Mike Mayock for that. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they should have gave him an opportunity to see what he could do with a new coach and some new hires in certain positions and see how everything would have panned out. Then if things didn't get better, then of course, yeah, why not? Yeah, then you probably want to go ahead and move him around. But yeah, I think it was premature.
So, of course, Julie noted. So, one of what's going on, Key? Good morning. Good morning. How you
What
doing?
up,
How you doing?
Key?
So, like you was just saying, it definitely it is exactly that. They maybe should have gave him another opportunity, basically being that what he was faced with.
Right.
Just like saying we speak on it and bring it up when we talk about other coaches and stuff like that. They should be afforded the same opportunity. He did, although he did have some bad personnel moves at the end state, but of course, like we were saying, it wasn't that we didn't know that. All right, all right, AP Applewhite. We got you, Sauce.
Appreciate
What's
you for
going
making
on? What's going on,
formation.
Dante? What's going on,
What up,
Dante?
little bro?
So it's just one of those things where yeah, he had some movements here and there, maybe some suspect stuff. He was a part of the group that drafted Klein Farrell. Probably didn't pan out. Jacobs, although I don't think Josh Jacobs was a bad pickup. Well, I mean, he has those things in which he did that, and he tried to move the organization forward, and but it was those personnel moves that was I think that was the damning situation for him. So, like
Mm,
we said, it's three organizations that now are looking for a head coach and a GM. So I ask you this question, Bishop.
mm.
If you were potentially being looked at for an executive position or a coaching position, which organization would you go to and for which job? Now we have the Chicago Bears, the Minnesota Vikings, and now the Las Vegas Raiders. Which organization are you going to for which job are you looking at grabbing?
And what are the jobs open? General manager and coach,
General manager and coach.
and head coach.
Yeah, head coach. I'm sorry, head coach.
Oh man, that's a good question, Trey. That's a real good question, to be honest with you. Because the reason what makes it so hard is
Uh
for
huh.
one, I'm leaning towards Chicago because I got a quarterback in
Hmm.
Justin Fields. Um, but I'm also leaning toward Las Vegas because of the market where it's at.
Mm.
It's up and coming. You know what I'm saying? They just got out there in Vegas, so I think that would be a good. But that part, AP, better weather. That part for the Vegas Raiders. That part right there, definitely that. And then for Minnesota, yeah, Minnesota and Chicago, that weather thing right there is what kind of keeps me hesitant wanting to go out there. To be honest with you, man. And then Kirk Cousins, I don't know if he would still be the quarterback out in Minnesota, stuff like
It's
that.
yeah.
So,
It's
and,
definitely so.
yeah, and then it depends on what position. If I'm taking the head coaching job, or if I would take the general
The
manager
GM.
job. But me being a youth coach, I would probably take the coaching job because that's what I would want to do is coach,
Hmm.
not necessarily be general manager. So first, let me say I would take the coaching job,
Okay,
and if
coaching.
I would take yeah. So and if I would take the coaching job, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Vegas, man.
You
I
go with
think I have to
Vegas?
go. Yeah, I think I have to go with Vegas, man. If I had to choose, yeah, I think I would take the head coaching job and I would head out to Vegas. I think that would be my where I would go, man. But what about you? How would you? If it was your decision, you got them three teams, them two positions. Who you taking? Vegas, Minnesota, Chicago. Going to the Windy City, or what position you taking?
So when you look at it, man,
Yeah,
it's like you say,
yeah,
it's some
exactly.
comparisons. Like so, think about it. Like it's like everything has something, but it's like, is it what's going to best fit you? So when I look at it,
Right.
when you look at Minnesota, going to Minnesota as a GM, you look at our coach, you have personnel. Like, okay, the only thing you look at is like, do I move on Cousins? What's going on? Say you had the situation with Kendricks, with the mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
You got Jefferson and Thean that's there, and you
You
and
do.
Dalvin Cook. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You got that
that
there,
is
but then
true.
like you said, bringing that up is like, okay, well, it's in Minnesota. We'll be playing in the dome, but what about when I'm not playing? When I'm not playing in the dome, like I got to spend
Facts.
money to go somewhere else. So you look at that as Minnesota.
And get rid of Cousins.
that's
I feel
see,
you
that's
on
what.
that, Will. I feel you on that, Will.
See, he's a Minnesota fan. That's why. So you know, say a
Oh,
Vikings
okay,
fan.
got it.
So it's like you take that
Right.
into consideration. It's like, do I want that? When you go to Chicago, it's like a lack of personnel, so to speak. You got a new quarterback in Fields. So it's like, do I? In any case, I think I would be. I think I would be opposite of that. I think I would be looking at GM, going to and saying making moves as a GM. So I guess
Okay.
saying. I guess we both will be interviewing for the Vegas, and we'll hook up and we'll make
You
it.
be my general manager. I'll be
Yeah,
coach.
yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
So
ready. I'm ready.
let's
Let's
see what we
go.
do. If we're gonna
But
either
my
go,
but
we
my
gonna go
question for
together.
you,
We gonna
Trey.
die, live or die.
Right. But my question for you, Trey. So all those things in which you just spoke of, especially in regards to Chicago, especially in regards to Minnesota being they do have a dome, but they do have those outside games that they do have to play. But my question to you is, out of those three teams in those two positions, who do I feel you, little bro? You coming too, man. You
I was
coming
about to
too,
say he
man.
coming too.
We gonna you
We got
coming
it.
too. You can be the assistant coach or running backs coach. Because that's what my little brother do. That's his thing, running back coach. I got you. I'm bringing you with me. But out of those three teams, being that you pick general manager now, being that you
Uh-huh.
pick general manager, out of those three teams, do you still take the Raiders as being the best team to make it to a Super Bowl out of the three teams? Or do you go another route? If you were picking simply because you want to take your team the owner says for you to be GM, you have to take us to the Super Bowl, not get us to the playoffs. You have to get us to the Super Bowl if you want to keep that position.
So
Yeah,
at this point, I think Minnesota is the better equipped team for that.
agreed.
Like I said, basically based on personnel, we got to take in consideration. Although Minnesota didn't make it to the playoffs, and the Raiders did, but it was like a limp-in situation for the most part. And that's what I'm saying, and is that's just a situation in which, but when you look at like Reed said, Cousins. I'm not gonna say Cousins is the only reason, but Cousins,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying, if you're able, what if I'm able to will and deal and bring in
Deshaun
admirable,
Watson,
yeah, Deshaun Watson, or what I'm
Aaron
saying, or
Rodgers.
yeah, or, what I'm saying, something like that, or
Yeah.
what I'm saying, or what I'm saying, Russell Wilson, or what I'm saying, something like that, to where you're able to bring somebody in along with that, which we already stated, and just saying build from there. That makes a complete difference. So I think in this sense, the Minnesota Vikings would be at between
Okay.
those three are the better equipped right now as far as personnel. And, but
Mm-hmm.
that's just on the surface because we ain't taking consideration what they're looking at for cap space, what they're looking
Right.
at for contracts at this point, who has the extensions coming up, and what money is out there that's left. But on the surf, just speaking as a novice, that would be where I would think it would be ideal. Uh, that would be ideal. I don't know, like
I
saying.
don't know
And
either,
so you
bro.
got to think
AD,
like I have on my
AD, I don't know
GM
nothing.
cap. I have on my
Right.
GM cap, so I would have to
Right.
think like true enough. He may be
So outside of that, though, Trey, outside of that part and what we have Deshaun Watson going through right now, outside of that, he's a model player, model citizen on the field. No
yeah.
one has ever had any problems with Deshaun Watson outside of the allegations that's going on with him currently. So I mean, I feel you. I hear what you're saying, AD, but I totally feel what Trey is saying, being that he is the GM. Being that he is the GM of the Minnesota Vikings, I still would.
You have to look
Yeah,
at
I
that.
mean,
You have to
yeah, you
look at
have to.
You have to weigh on is if it's going to be enough. If it's an issue, if it's that much of an issue, or what?
Yeah,
Like, of course, obviously, you're not going to add them or take them on if that still is pending. You
lingering,
start
right?
you still look at a situation just like I feel like that's why they didn't Houston didn't play him because you start to bring on that okay this is what you're putting more value over rights and people's human rights and everything at, to make a quick dollar in football and sports. And of course, you look at that. But if like you said, he's seemingly a model citizen, he is guilty. I mean, he is not guilty currently,
Mm-hmm.
and currently still innocent. And the trial hasn't played out yet. So it would be one of those
Right.
things like, which I, as a GM, trying to build a winner and seeing if I can get something to get going. And this is my livelihood at this point. I would have to take a flyer and really take a look and see is it possible for us to go ahead and get this individual in. So it would definitely be one of those situations in which I would take a hard look and wonder.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm saying? Of course, as we stated, we as we said, we was gonna have a couple of guests, and one of our guests, of course, is a former 8-year Army veteran, medic, combat medic, let me add. He's founder and owner of CEO of Hero Sports, doing great things for veterans. But we don't want to talk too much about him. We don't let him to his own horn of people. Of course, further ado, we have Mr. Mike Barker. What's going on, Mike? How you doing, sir?
Good man. What's up, guys?
Hey,
What's
what's going
going on?
on? What's going
What's
on?
going on, Mike? What's up? What's up, man? What's up? What's up?
I'm more tactical than technical. So
It's
Yeah,
good.
So we had a little technical difficulties, but we're good now.
that's
Yes,
good.
sir. Yes, sir. So go ahead and tell us a little something about yourself, Mike. What you got going on out there in San Antonio?
Yeah, so like you said, I served in the Army for 8 years as a combat medic. I got out of the Army, went to physical therapy school, and
Oh, okay.
I worked at Brooke Army Medical Center and the Center for the Intrepid for 9 years, rehabbing critically wounded guys and girls from battlefield injuries. And from there, just started helping veterans on the weekends through sports. I started a baseball team here in San Antonio of 10 Purple Heart recipients, and just
Mm.
paid for them to play in a baseball league in San Antonio on Sunday afternoons outside of treating them in the clinic. And basically, that's kind of how Hero Sports got started. From the baseball team, we added a softball team. From softball teams, we added golfing once a month, and it got so expensive that I couldn't just keep paying for it out of my own pocket. So I had to figure out how to start a nonprofit because I never never knew. See here. See if we can get the volume up a little bit.
Perfect. You perfect now, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
All right, we're good. Um, yeah, basically just had to figure out how to start a nonprofit. Didn't know anything about it. Had worked with other ones at the hospital there, but didn't know how to do my own. So I filed the paperwork, and in 2015, it took about 6 months to get the approval from the IRS. In March of 2016, we officially became Hero Sports, nonprofit organization for veterans and service members.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. What do you have any? What do you have that's currently slated or ongoing events or anything like that? Or y'all know it's just the beginning of the year. You kind of like coasting in. What y'all got going
No,
on here, sports?
no, man, we got tons of stuff, man. We
Okay, okay,
So we average about 100 hunting and fishing trips a year. So we hunt or fish at least once or twice a week usually.
okay.
So we have a hunt for white-tailed deer this Wednesday, tomorrow actually, here in Texas, and then Friday through Sunday we'll be doing a dog and knife hunt. So if you've never done that, it's pretty real.
Yes.
Chasing hogs with dogs and knifing them. So we
Oh
got
yeah, definitely out my comfort level.
that. Yeah. So we have that going on this weekend, but we not only put on our own fundraisers, but we're a part of a lot of other events. The San
Hmm.
Antonio Rodeo is coming in February, so we'll be there. A part of that event. Um, we have a May banquet fundraiser that we put on. That
Hmm.
we have musical guests and some sports figures that show up and support, and
Okay.
so that's coming up in May. If you guys are into UFC, one of my good friends is Justin Gagey with
Okay.
the UFC, and he's doing his first golf tournament in June. That's a fundraiser for our organization out in Denver. So,
Oh,
um,
nice,
a lot
nice,
of lot
nice.
of big things, man. A lot of big things on the horizon. It's just you know, just supporting our vets, man. That's what it is for me. So.
Yes, sir. Yes,
What's
sir.
up?
Definitely. As all we are, as me and Bishop are a part of Cyro 5 Military Fraternity Incorporated, and we
Oh,
look,
five.
say, do some of this, do the same exact things, giving back to our veteran communities, and making things happen as best we can. Saying and keep it going. Yes, yes. You
Yes,
said
he did,
UFC.
Brian.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, we were.
He's a big UFC guy. Rodney
Oh,
Jr.'s a big
okay.
UFC
Yeah.
guy.
So it's just networking, being in the right place at the right time. We did our very first event before we were even a nonprofit. Somebody was putting on a fundraiser event, had heard about our baseball team here in San Antonio, and said, "Hey, I'm putting on a celebrity softball game up in New Jersey. I'd like to use your team in the game as the veterans for the game." And at the
Nice.
time, hadn't raised any money and didn't know what to do. So basically, I had to figure out how to get 10 guys to New Jersey. So we did some plate sales and just local, fundraisers type deal, and got everybody out to New Jersey. And Frankie Edgar was there, Corey Anderson was there, Eddie Alvarez, the whole New Jersey crew up there that trains with Frankie, and just became friends with a lot of those guys. And
that's what's up.
Justin Gagey actually happened to be there helping Frankie train for a fight that was upcoming, and happened to meet him there, and he was still in the World Series of Fighting at the time. Wasn't even in the UFC. So we just kind of hit it off and all became friends. And we were at UFC 268 in New York for the Usman Covington 2 fight, which Frankie also fought on that card, and so did Justin against Michael Chandler. So it's pretty cool to go to these events, take a group of veterans. Corey Anderson, who used to fight in the UFC, now fights in Bellator. Him and I are pretty good friends, and actually he was just here a week ago on a hunt with some veterans in South Texas. And, he's getting ready to fight for the light heavyweight title in Bellator probably in April. So, we'll take some vets to that. We took some to his last fight out in Phoenix. So
of course,
just trying to relationships that I've built, trying to allow other veterans to experience some of those cool moments where you get to go to get some one-on-one time with some of these athletes, and sit front row at some of these events. It's pretty cool.
Definitely.
Mike, those some big names that you have right there. That you spoke of. A lot of people know him from the UFC and of course Bellator and things like that. And it's a great, I think it's a great thing what you're doing, Mike, in regards to veterans, because like Trey said, in regards to our fraternity, which is a military fraternity, of course, that's what it's about for us. Giving back to the veterans, giving them an opportunity to do things outside the uniform. When it's all said and done, being able to still, play a game in which you love to play, whether it's baseball, UFC, whether it's golf, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Myself and Trey, we're huge football fans, of course, and we played a great deal of flag football. Him and Trey and I were teammates for years. We were stationed out at Fort Hood together. And so him and I even spoke early last year. Him and I and my brother actually are huge flag football players. And we spoke earlier last year. No, actually, that was last year.
Before the COVID pandemic.
Yeah, 2020. Yeah, before the pandemic, we spoke highly about doing a flag football tournament and things of like that nature, and trying to create some opportunities as well. But of course, the pandemic came in and it kind of wiped a lot of that stuff away for a bit, and we haven't really tried to re-engage the flag football thing. But definitely something maybe train myself. My little brother, we can come at you and maybe you can, help us get that to light in regards to, trying to put flag football on the market and back on the map here soon.
Yep. Yeah, no, we've done some flag football in the past. We had a team that played here in San Antonio in a league, indoor flag football.
Oh, really?
Yep. Yeah, no, I used to pay for a team to play here of local vets. Just kind of fell apart with the pandemic and people kind of falling off, and let's face it, most of us vets aren't getting any younger, so the backs and the knees and the hamstrings don't quite work like they used to. So
they sure don't, boy. They sure don't.
So
we have over 50. Can we have like the basketball teams have a over 30 flag football league or over 40 league? You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Mitch?
Yeah, we need that the geriatric league.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but it's hard to keep up with them young bucks nowadays, man. You get in the upper 30s, lower 40s, man. You're not 20 anymore. Yeah, so
legs don't move. Them legs don't move that way they used to no more, man.
The mind says, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the mind stays young. The mind, that's the good thing. The mind stays
the mind have you thinking like, I can run this. I can do it.
I can do it. I can do it. Yeah. Your mind stays young, but I totally understand. So, Mike, my question for you is in regards to. So, is this the same hero sport? Like, where did you originate? Did you originate out of San Antonio, or were you elsewhere? Did this start here in San Antonio?
Yeah, it started in San Antonio, but we've done
Okay.
stuff across the country. 17 different states we've done events in or supported veterans. So, um,
Hmm.
just we have a Utah chapter that two slow pitch softball teams out of there. We do
Nice.
yearly events in Hawaii and California and Florida, and all across the country. We have golf
Nice.
tournaments in Nebraska. We just got done with a duck and goose hunt up in Nebraska. We just scheduled our
Wow.
turkey hunt in Nebraska. So I mean, like we basically manage everything here from San Antonio. But we have a lot of local supporters across the country that help put on events as well.
Okay.
That's what's
So
up. So, Mike, while you was getting your technical difficulties taken care of, we was having a little bit of discussion. So, matter of fact, who's your favorite NFL team? If you have one.
man, there's only one NFL team, man, the Packers, bro.
Oh
Oh,
my
here we go.
God. Oh my God. Not an Aaron Rodgers
So,
fan.
I'm just
Oh
saying,
my
I mean, some people
God.
were watching wild card weekends. Other people had buys. I don't know. Uh,
Facts.
okay,
Facts.
yes.
we don't know what wild card
Yeah,
weekend is. That's not a thing for
but
us.
be honest, Mike. Be honest. That game last night, y'all had one eye on that game because y'all wanted to see who was y'all gonna play in that game. Y'all had one
Uh,
eye open.
Yeah, well, we actually play the 49ers.
49ers,
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, that's right.
we
Y'all do play the 49ers. I'm sorry. That's right.
yeah, and it's always there's two teams I cheer for in the NFL: the Packers and whoever's playing the Cowboys. So, we're glad to see the 49ers. They're a tough team. I think Joey Bosa might be hurt, or Nick
Yeah.
Bosa. Nick Bosa.
Nick Bosa.
He
Nick
might have
Bosa.
got hurt in that game, and
Yeah, concussion.
yeah, so he might not be playing, which is always a good thing. But I mean, obviously, we don't want anybody getting hurt out there. But
Right.
if it keeps Aaron Rodgers upright, I'm all about it. So,
Well,
uh,
Trey is a San Francisco 49er fan, so it's y'all two against each other this weekend because that is his team, the
yeah,
49ers.
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
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 that is
yeah.
his
So,
Well,
team. So
here,
when you
here
say
question.
Nick Bosa is hurt, his face kind of frowned up because he doesn't want Nick to be hurt. So
He might be back, but you looking at possible injuries. I mean, him and Fred Warner both, or potentially might not play. So, of course, like you
right,
said, health over everything else. But it
of
definitely
course.
helps to have them to be able to play. So, like we was talking about, so we were just talking about how Mike Mayock down in Las Vegas got fired from GM. So now that makes the third team in which is you have a GM. They're looking for a GM and a coach. So I posed the question to Bishop, and he, of course, posed it back to me. So we asked you this question: If you were, if you had the ability, if you were potentially up for one of these positions, which of the three organizations would you go to, and for what position? The three organizations being the Minnesota Vikings, the Las Vegas Raiders, or the Chicago Bulls, and which
Chicago
position would you
Bears.
go after? Correction, Chicago Bears.
uh,
Which position would you go after? Would it be the GM or the coaching position?
Yeah.
well, obviously, I'm a Packers fan, so I can't do anything Vikings.
Okay.
I'm definitely going to pass on that opportunity.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely not a Bears fan. But I just think that with the new stadium and the allure of Vegas, how do you turn that job down? I mean,
Absolutely. We
you know,
said the same
I'm
thing.
just
We said the same
well,
thing.
not only that, but I will say that the Raiders have a tremendous fan base. A loyal
Facts.
fan base. They travel well. So I think being a part of a team like that would be pretty cool.
And what position
Definitely.
though? Would you take the head coaching position or would you take the general manager's position
Oh
in
man, I'm
Las
calling the
Vegas?
shots, man. I got to be the GM. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
calling the shots. So
I feel you on that.
yeah, no, I'm taking the GM spot, and maybe hire Bishop or Trey as the head coach. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm with it. Let's go.
So of course, like I said yesterday, last night we had the last wild card, super wild card Monday game. As Mike said, he's a Green Bay
First
Packer
ever.
fan. They don't have any problems when it comes to that. So of course, but McVay did, unfortunately. So what we had is the Arizona Cardinals faced off against the Los Angeles Rams, in which, like Bishop said, first time ever for Matthew Stafford going to a playoff. Well, he's been to the playoffs a couple of times in his 13 years, but he's never won. So he finally was able to slay that dragon, in which he, after 186 games, he has got his first NFL playoff win. And he did it in grand fashion. He basically ended up winning. He finished with a 154.5 QB rating. Gentlemen, what did you think of this of Stafford's his performance last night? I know Bishop, you said you didn't pay too much attention at a certain point. It was like they got this in hand. Yeah, game over. Did you think it was a point in which Stafford stepped up, or was it just about time, or was it basically the competitions which he felt and Arizona wasn't ready?
Trying to be honest with you, man, it was a little bit of both, man. A lot of people felt like if Stafford, like Zach was saying right there, our frat brother, like he said, Stafford, he protected the ball. He didn't have no interceptions, and so there was no turnovers on him. I don't think the Los Angeles Rams had any turnovers. Period. He was 13 for 17 for 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So with that being said, excuse me, Matthew Stafford came in and did what he had to do in LA, man. I really felt bad for Kyler Murray. He was 19 for 34, 137 yards, 2 interceptions. They just did that LA Ram defense was giving Murray problems. Like they could not, that offensive line, it looked to me as though it was an NFL defense going against a high school offensive line. I'm not gonna lie. They were butchering the Arizona Cardinals offensive line. Butchering. They couldn't stop nothing. Like the LA Rams defensive line could do whatever they wanted. They could do whatever they wanted. They couldn't stop Donald. They couldn't stop what's his name? The linebacker they just got.
Von Miller.
Von Miller. They couldn't stop Von. They couldn't stop anybody. They couldn't stop the coach. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to Sean McVay for doing what he did. It was just a complete domination of the game. And then you actually saw the Odell Beckham of old.
Absolutely.
OBJ did his thing, bro. Not only did he just, kill him, torching him on the field with catches and receiving yards, but he torched him with a pass, too. It was 1 for 1 for 40 yards. Like, man, Odell Beckham was in rare form, man, but all of them was in rare form. You know what I'm saying? They just had an overall good game. The Arizona Cardinals only had 61 yards rushing with 18 carries. The Rams had 140 with 38 carries. You can't say nothing about it, man. The Rams looked like a Super Bowl contender last night. That's just me.
Yeah, they definitely look good. Yeah, I think the turning point in the game too was when Kyler Murray avoided the sack and threw the pick on the 1 yard line.
Oh my God!
You could just see like after that, like the whole team.
It was done.
It was just like was demoralized.
Yep, I totally agree. I mean, they didn't even score. They only scored 11 points, and I think the first touchdown came late in the third or the beginning of the fourth when Arizona finally got in the end zone. Like, man, I know Kyler was like, man, golly, can y'all at least push him, pull him, do something? God, like, come on, man, give me something.
of course, like you said, it was like a balance. It seemed like a balanced attack, as you said, across the board.
Right.
Like you said, Matthew Stafford, 13 for 17, 202 yards, two touchdowns, no interceptions. The run attack, Sony Michelle and Cam Akers, 55 and 58 yards apiece, respectively, off of basically a combined 30 carries. And then Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham, Tyler Higbee, Van Jefferson, Cam Akers, 40, 41, 46, 54, 61 yards, to a touchdown for Beckham and Cooper a piece. Cup a piece, and then not to mention one of those Odell almost ran in with that off the sideline and got stopped on the 3 yard line. So
Right.
definitely, as we say, we're clicking on all cylinders. It was like a balanced attack in which the Cardinals basically wasn't able to rival. They, as we remember, we had the conversation. It was like I'm very sure Kyler is going to be running all over the place. They definitely came with a game plan where
A
to stop
spy.
that, yeah, to
Mm-hmm.
spy
They
him and
spy Kyler. Yep.
keep the win, keep him locked down. So of course, like you were saying, Odell Beckham. So now are we saying that Odell Beckham is back? Basically, in 29 games with the Cleveland Browns, he had 9 touchdowns. In 9 games with the Los Angeles Rams, he has 6 touchdowns. Also, he got activated $500,000 for helping them get the playoff win. I think that's enough to incentivize to be like, yeah, I'm trying to do this. Is this a sense where you think OBJ is back, or was it just they had the right he had a good game against the right personnel at that point, and we might not see this when they play in Tampa this coming week.
Let Mike take that first.
Yeah, obviously, I think being on a team that's playing well, and he is featured on the offense, definitely helps. Not only his psyche, but it's helping the team on the field. So when he was in Cleveland, not getting
Mm-hmm.
targets, not getting looked at, it's why am I out here to play it? As an athlete, I think we all want to feel like we're having an impact on the game. So once we're kind of just going back to basketball, like as a shooter, if you're not getting the ball and opportunities to shoot, when you finally do get the ball, it's like, am I ready to shoot or am I passing the ball? It's
Mm-hmm.
same with football. It's like if I'm not getting targeted, it's like I'm not running my route as hard. I'm not trying to get past this defender because the QB is not even looking at me. And I think some of that happened in Cleveland. And now obviously Matthew Stafford coming over from the Lions, playing well as for the Rams, and them adding pieces to what could be a very good team that could make a run at the Super Bowl. Makes OBJ want to play. And I
Mm-hmm.
think now he's kind of got that fire back like he had that we saw early, with the Giants.
I totally agree with Mike, man. I feel like when you looked at the game last night with, OBJ, man, you could see he was having fun. That was the first time, not one time that I can recall, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but not one time did I see OBJ have the face that he had last night in Cleveland. Like you could see the smiles on his face. You could see he was happy what he was doing out there in LA. You could see that he was totally tuned in to the game. It looks like Sean figured out a way to get him more involved. Like I said, he threw a pass. Like OBJ was happy. Like exactly, Jordan. He felt like he was back in New York, like when he got drafted. Like I feel like he's found himself once again. It's a fresh new start and a fresh new team on a good team, especially a great defense. You got Matthew Stafford at the quarterback, who's a seasoned veteran behind the center, and they just have numerous weapons like you said. Cup is out there. You got Cup, you got Higby, Van Jefferson. Like I feel like he's happy where he is, man. And if they get deep in the playoffs, you could expect to see, in my opinion, you can expect to see a lot more OBJ with that same face out there on the field.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those situations in which him playing, feeling like he's a part of something and getting touches here and there makes a great difference. Of course, when people are touching the ball, especially, they're a lot happier.
Right.
I think it was more. I think it was a situation in which it was very adaptive. They basically adapted to what it was that the Arizona Cardinals was doing. Of course, like we say, defense wins ball games, offense sells tickets, and that was
They sold a lot
clearly.
of tickets yesterday. They sold a lot of tickets last night.
It was clearly an example of that exactly. The defense was clicking on all cylinders. Kyler Murray wasn't helping with boneheaded plays. Taking instead of taking two, he tried to throw it out. I'm assuming he tried to get it out.
Hold on. What you will not do there, Mr. Trey, what you will not do is talk bad about Kyler, man. My OU alum. You will not do that. That's what you will not do.
Mike, he has a huge OU bias. So, you know what I'm saying?
That's
a huge OU bias.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what I'm going to say is real quick. I got you, Mike. What I'm going to say is that man was running for his life, man. He was running for his life. He's little. You got 600-some-thousand pounds coming at you every single play. That man is 5'9", 5'10" at the most, and maybe 190 pounds, if that. And
hey, well, he was
scared.
Did that 5'9" stop him from winning the Heisman Trophy?
Oh, here we go.
Hey, on a positive note, your OU alum now has the shortest interception return in playoff history.
I saw that. Come on, Kyler. I'm like, come on, guys. But y'all had to look at it though. Trey, Mike, I'm gonna put y'all in this situation. Do you take the safety? No. Don't y'all do that. Do you take the safety or do you give up the 6? And he wasn't trying to give up the 6. It just happened. Old boy made a good play.
Yeah, he was. But so this is what I look at. He was in the grass. He was like in the, like Mike just talked about. They're going to hunt them hogs, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. I can assure you're not going to, if anyone who sit up and have the hog wrestle down, they're not going to sit up and throw their knife to wrestle the hog. No,
that's correct.
That's not going to happen.
That's correct.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
They're going to, he was already the dude was already, he was going down for the safety. He tried. I'm assuming. I like to give him a benefit of the doubt. I feel that he was trying to throw the ball out of bounds.
He was trying to throw it away. He was
because of the weight was already barreled down on him, and he couldn't get enough oomph to get it out. He threw the interception because that didn't make it nowhere. You was about 3 or 4 yards short of the out of bounds line. So He was already getting ready to take the safety. He should have go ahead and just let him tackle him. But I mean, effort, I guess, not a good.
So hold on. So what you saying? And I'm coming to you, Mike. Next. So you're saying you take the safety. That means you giving them the 2. Listen, you giving them the 2 points plus you giving them the ball. So that now equals up to 9 points.
Potential. What we know is a guaranteed 2 points. That's all we know.
Yeah, I give up the guaranteed 2. And hope that our defense can hold and get us the ball back. But
mind you, that the score was already 14. Y'all do know the score was already 14-0. I mean, defense really
wasn't doing 2 points. 2 points.
I mean, you guys can't even keep your coach to want to stay in Oklahoma, man.
Hey, Mike, cut his mic, man. Cut his mic. Cut Mike's mic.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just going to keep it real, fellas. Just keep it real.
Yeah, I feel you. I don't like Lincoln Riley right now. I don't like anything, especially that he went over there and had the audacity to go over there to Trey's team. That's what I think makes it even worse. Is that he went over there to Trey's team, to USC, which really, really made me heated.
Hey man, I mean, you got Bob Stoops back for a game. You know, let's.
And we won. And we won big. We won big. We beat a Pac-12 team. Thank you much.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Thank you much.
I guess
Pac-12. I thought we were talking about football.
There we go. Mike, turn his mic up. Turn Mike's mic up. Turn it up, baby. Turn it up. I like it. Yeah, I tried to tell Trey Pac-12 is not football.
Is that Canadian football? Is that Canadian football?
We are back. Just wait for it. We are back. We are good to go. Mike, Lincoln Riley gonna make things happen for us.
We good. Like Lower California University and
we are definitely back in the building. It's no problem whatsoever. We good
Oh
with
man.
it. Be good with it. Definitely. So as I was saying about, it's funny that we're talking about Kyler Murray. I know we had this conversation before Bishop, especially when we talked about how Murray has played in key games when he was at Oklahoma. But do you guys think, saying, of course, um, those out there listening, continue to respond in the comments. Do y'all believe that the lights was too big for Kyler last night? He wasn't ready for the moment. You got to think they went from 7-0. They started out 7-0, and the last games he basically went 4-7 on the year. So was it because D Hop has been out? He didn't have his number one receiver, or was it this particular game the lights was just too big and he wasn't ready for the moment?
I mean, definitely hurts. Definitely hurts not having Hopkins. So, you know,
All right,
yeah,
Jordan,
I mean,
here.
plus, injuries. How many of these guys are playing hurt? 18 games into the season. And trying to battle through stuff. You just it's a long season. Guys got bumps, bruises, and injuries, and trying to play through it. And I mean, I think Kyler Murray is a really good quarterback. I don't think even though he went to Oklahoma, I think his skills, are still there. That they just didn't gel down the stretch. It's they peaked too soon, I guess. At the beginning of the season, and just didn't finish well.
Yeah, I have to agree with Mike with that as well because I do feel like Hop not being there was definitely a factor too. I feel like, I mean, don't get me wrong, he threw to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 different receivers, and no, he actually threw to 9 different receivers, but only 6 caught passes.
Do we count the Rams players that he threw to too, though, or do we not count those?
Mike is on one this morning.
Yeah, he is. He is rare for
it. I mean, and the thing is, I can't say anything. I can't. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And it could have been 3 interceptions when one pass went through old boy's hands and the DB caught it, but the receiver took it back from the DB to get the reception. So it would have been 3, but but then again, those type of interceptions, do you blame? You shouldn't even blame the quarterback for that. That went through the receiver's hands. But back to your question, Trey. Yeah, I think B Hop not being there played a factor as well. I can't necessarily say that they may have won if B Hop was there, or if Hop was there. I don't know. But at the same token, I don't feel like the lights was an issue for him. I don't think the stage, like my little brother said, I don't think the stage was too big for him. He's been on the stage similar to that, being, playing in bowl games and stuff like that. We know that stage ain't quite as big as a wild card game, but I still feel like the stage, I don't think the stage was too big. I do agree, like my little brother said, like I said before, that defensive line was just, you couldn't do nothing with him, man. It was what it was. And for a guy with Kyler Murray's measurables, you have a tendency to get a little nervous and scared and find yourself doing, and especially when you're not able, especially when the defense comes in and takes away one of your main elements of how to play the game, and that's being able to run, make plays down the field on the run. And they completely took that out of his arsenal. Completely took that out of his arsenal. And when you take that away from him, as well as put pressure on him in the pocket, they basically found the recipe to stop Kyler Murray. Like everybody now that plays Arizona from here on out, they gonna go refer back to this game because they just gave you the recipe on how to stop Kyler Murray. You take away his ability to run downfield, get out the pocket, and make plays down the field. And when he is in the pocket, you put major pressure on him.
Now, Malcolm, I think this did. So I think I see Malcolm we asked they changed the offense game plan to for the midseason, which I believe they did. It looks like they did, but it could have been to facilitate the fact that they didn't have DeAndre Hopkins anymore, or it was just to hide some things. Of course, they was down to one running back, in which he did pretty good job in my opinion. Connors kind of stepped up while he was the lone back. So those things, of course, were dominant. Of course, before we add in our other special guests, one of the questions: what do you think about this when it comes down to players coming back that were in the rotation prior to you get a new rotation going back, and then you add another player? JJ Watt was added back to the rotation one game just at this moment, one game in. Do you think it was a good look, or do you think that could have contributed to some of the woes that the defense had?
I think JJ Watt was you can't leave a player like JJ on the sideline, man. You can't, especially when you play in a team like Arizona. I mean, like you play in a team like the LA Rams. You can't leave JJ Watt on the sideline, man. He could be a key factor. Obviously, he wasn't because Matthew Stafford, I think he got sacked one time. But you can't leave JJ Watt on the sideline, man. You can't. You have to put him in the game. You have to. Now, maybe you may not, being that he is coming off an injury, maybe you do not put him in as much, or whatever. Maybe you limited his time to trying to stop the stop them from changing up the dynamics so much. But you can't leave someone like JJ Watt off the field. You just cannot.
And of course, like Dante was saying, did they focus on Cup in order to and forgot about OBJ? I don't think they did, but I think what they did is they definitely put a focus on trying to stop Cup, which that was dismal. Like he was still getting what he can out of him, and then on the opposite side of the spectrum, OBJ was still eating. Van Jefferson was eating, like we talked about. They had a very, very balanced attack. No one was over 60 yards receiving, but yet you had 5 receivers over 40 yards receiving. And and so of course, I don't think, again, when you look at it, I don't think it was a situation in which they was able to that they just put the clamps on Cup and let OBJ. I think what they did is they avoided Cup from eating the whole smorgasbord, and they had to divvy it up amongst everybody else. So yeah, everyone ate last night. Definitely, everyone ate.
Everyone ate. Sure. Facts.
What's going on, Miss Greene? How you doing this glorious morning?
Good morning.
What's going on?
Hey, Mike. How you doing,
girl? How you been?
Good. Good to see you.
See, I didn't even know we knew each other.
You said
no,
what?
We didn't.
I said they didn't even know that we knew each other.
I know. You've been my people, right?
I know. A1 since day one.
Facts.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I found that out I think this weekend when I was up there at King's tournament.
Yeah, I know all kinds of people, Trey.
Hey, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
all that. And I'm very sure it's probably a couple of more then that's going to come on over the course of while we're doing this show and get on. You know, someone else that he knows, Zelos. I mean, I'm sorry, Bishop.
Oh,
he knows Alibi.
Oh, China.
No.
Yeah, I tried to teach him how to play basketball, but it didn't work out.
So
what's
of course,
up, Miss Kim? How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm living.
So Kim came in just as the right time as we get ready to transition. So before we transition, we want all the fans want to know what was popping, what was cracking. I got to let the California enemy come out. Say what was cracking at the MG33 Military Basketball Tournament over the weekend. I know Bishop was, saying in full was on set. Kim, Bishop, hey, what was the experience? I'm sorry I missed it.
Go ahead, Bishop. Tell her how
really?
you feel.
Oh, really? That's how you gonna do it?
I see she's still doing that same stuff.
Hey, I see Kim still doing that. She's still on that.
Passing it. Hey, she got the assist. Her assist is crazy.
Hey, man, her assist game is on point, bro. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, I went down there to Fort Worth, man. An amazing. First, let me say this, and man, shouts out to Kim and whoever else who's behind the scenes. This gymnasium this school. I'm gonna be honest, right?
I seen the board. I was like,
hold on, Trey. You have no idea, right? I'm old school. I'm an old cat, right? I'm old school. So I went to a 5A school. Don't get me wrong. I went to a 5A school and 5A high school and stuff like that, right? And we played on artificial turf and stuff like that for football games and stuff like that, so forth and so on. And our gymnasium was decent, bruh. Let me tell you, Mike, Trey. this gymnasium, for one, and hopefully I don't get this wrong. I think they had, this is a high school now. I think they had like 5 gyms, a total of 5 gyms. 5 gyms. They had 4 within the main gymnasium area. 4 gyms. Now, not only did they have 4 gyms, so she was able to have games going on, all at the same time. Not only did she have that, not only did they have that, but their main gym, they had a Dallas Cowboy Tron scoreboard or video monitor on the wall, bro. Like, so if you were sitting up deep, like you could see the players sweat on their face as they were playing ball, bro. Like, I'm like, where do they do that? I was so in awe in seeing this gymnasium. I was like, what in the world? Like the other gyms that they had along, they was pretty much like the gyms I'm used to. But this main gym, oh man, it was amazing. It looked like an NBA, a college or NBA gym, man. No joke. But the games, man, amazing, man. Like I told y'all, and like I've said many times before, and I'm sure Trey, Mike, Kim, y'all know, it's so much talent in regards to sports in the armed forces. It's so much talent in the armed forces. It's crazy. It's so crazy. These guys were balling. When I say they was balling, we had some high flyers, we had some shooters. It was knocking down trays deep. Like I got to watch OKC, which was a good team. Hawaii, they had a real good team. The Marines, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm not surprised that the Marines, they came in there and did their thing, man. They had some real good teams in that tournament, man, and it was a great atmosphere. A lot of people were there. A lot of people played, were wearing masks to try and keep everybody safe, so that was good as well. But it was just a fun time, man. And myself and a few of the frat brothers, Trey, came out in support as well as to help anything Miss Green needed. We tried to do our best to help her. And man, we had an amazing time. I will say all of us said, yeah, man, we definitely got to link up with Miss Kim again in the near future so we can help out once again. So mad shouts out to Miss Green for that.
Yes, indeed. So, Kim, what you were a little more the insider. I was able to catch some of your commentary while you was watching some of the games. But was there any surprises during your this weekend in which you seen from the other times in which you have seen or had any of your other games or other tournaments?
I think this tournament in general was the competition was at another level. So you didn't really have a favorite that would come in and blow everybody out. There were some teams that some people hadn't seen, or in the military, people PCS, they move around, so maybe there had been some movement going on. So to be honest, it was one of those things where it's like, well, man, Hawaii came. We're not really sure what Hawaii has, but the first day Hawaii went, in pool play, Hawaii went 3-0. You know what I mean? So people had never seen them before. They maybe had saw the players from previous, but it was really a team that people weren't sure what they were going to have. And then, of course, the Marines, they always do a great job. They have kind of like this togetherness and this sync that because they have played together so much and they have that brotherhood that they actually just flow. They make adjustments very well. They have great coaches. And so, therefore, they don't really get frazzled or you don't see them dismantle um, off of a run by another team. They see the run coming and then they make the adjustment and then they spread the lead again. You know what I mean? So they may have had a couple close calls, but it was nothing to where they didn't make their adjustments, We had a lot of new teams come out, like your Fort Pokes, Cannon had their program get back started, so that was really good. Dallas got their program back going, so Barksdale got their program back going. So there were a few different teams that had been off during the COVID period that finally are getting back into conference play and getting back into coming into tournaments. But your Colorado Military Basketball, your Fort Jacksons, your OKCs, your Marines, your Fort Worths, there's just some people that's always going to be competitors, you know what I mean? And so um, I think I was more surprised at how many people dunked this weekend
It's the
because
little
there
things.
was a lot of people that I had seen play, and they were good, but the fact that they had the legs and the fact that they were running the floor, how they were running the floor and getting out on the fast breaks. I mean, I think it was everybody was excited to like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Let's go get it. You know what I mean? So there was definitely a lot of athleticism there. And so it was a great weekend.
Of course, we're going to touch more on the MG33 tournament in a little bit. Let's talk about some of this NBA action that went on last night. Of course, you had 12 games slated on this Martin Luther King Day, Monday for the week. You had the Pelicans play the Celtics. Celtics were victorious, defending their home court 104-92. Of course, anything else? Jason Tatum, 27 points, 8 rebounds. Dennis Schroeder and Jaylen Brown also followed up the effort, 23 points apiece, respectively. Dennis Schroeder, 9 assists, as well as 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 8 rebounds from Jalen. Of course, who else led? Unfortunately for the Pelicans, they were led by, not unfortunately, but they were led by Jonas Valanciunas, 22 points, 14, and another double-double effort. Brandon Ingram contributed 10 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, but the Pelicans were not able to finish the game victorious. So of course they dropped. Hold up, where it went to? I'm sorry. It dropped. They dropped 16-28. Celtics improved to 22-23, one game above 500. One of the next games that we had, the Hornets. Charlotte Hornets 97, New York Knicks 87. Charlotte was able to go down, become victorious, pushing the Knicks to a 22-22 500 season. Currently, as we get closer to the break, Miles Bridges, career high 38 points with 12 rebounds and 5 assists. He led the way. Terry Rozier, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. And of course, Gordon Hayward, 16 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. The Knicks were led by Julius Randle and RJ Barrett, 18 points apiece. A double-double for both of them, 10 points for Randle and 12 points for RJ Barrett. I know that's your up-and-coming man, Bishop. You have been talking highly on RJ Barrett. He continues to do what he has to do, but of course, it looked like they came up a little short last night. Speaking of the athleticism, in the 76ers game, 76ers did take the L 117-98. Of course, they was led by Joel Embiid, 32 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist. The Wizards were led led by Montrezl Harrell, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist. Of course, with 6 people in double digits, 7 people in double digits. But as you were just speaking to athleticisms, of course, there was a body caught last night. I don't know if y'all caught it. Kyle Kuzma coming off the corner. Joel Embiid think he was that man. And he thought, I don't know who he thought he was, but of course, gave him the facial in what was a hellacious dunk. I don't know if any of y'all caught it, but it was very nasty, very nasty. He added him to the list. 187 on the man, and not to mention that they took the L. I don't know. Bishop, you ever been dunked on, bro? I know you had an affinity for them. I had some bunnies. Have you ever been caught though?
No, no. I made sure because I'm not the tallest dude in the world, so I knew I was one of those dudes when I played basketball. Yeah, I'm not gonna find myself in a position to be posterized. I'm not. So no, I've never been dunked on myself. I hate it for those who have, because I know it's not a good feeling for somebody to put their genitals in your area. I don't see that being real fun. But either way, it happens. It's a part of the game. It is what it is. And you may need to work on your defensive skills in regards to guys are high flyers.
I caught one person in high school one time. It came off the rim. I guess they of course that game I got caught as well, but by a person shorter than me at that. Goodness gracious! But you know, say I caught one person in high school, and then it's in the military. When the other guy posters and the other guy action was real big. Got caught with my hand in the cookie jar. Like someone threw a lob, and I'm like, "Why he throw it so low?" So I went to try to. It was like right there in front of me, like how I'm sitting in front of y'all. I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is." I was like, "I'm going to get me a steal," and then like I looked at like on the back of my eyes, turning around, and all I see is hands on the ball, and then come up. I was like, "Oh my goodness, nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide." And it was in the gym in Fort Hood, so it was. You know what I'm saying? It closed out the gym. But
Man,
you know,
how we get a copy of that footage?
God, we won't.
I know, right? I need to find that, right? I need to find that.
Yeah, we go to the archives for that one.
That was some. That's where exactly going to stay in the archive.
Yeah,
Of course, you know.
Somebody got it.
Somebody.
That was before all the cameras and stuff like that. So it was a good year. Of course, you know, continue on
obviously.
The Brooklyn Nets faced off against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland was victorious in this one, winning 114-107, improving to 27-18. Of course, Brooklyn was without Kevin Durant, but they did have Kyrie and James Bishop. This your squad, man. What's up? Like, talk to us. What's going on, man? What's going on in Brooklyn, bro? And not to mention, do you buy or sell the fact that James Harden saying that he's open to relocating? Do I see Ben Simmons in that black and white?
No,
the look on Kim's face is priceless.
Nope. Yeah, don't bring Ben out there, man. No, we good where we at, man. We do not need Ben. I feel like for us, man. I mean, Kyrie still dropped 27, while James Harden dropped 20. Edwards had 11. Sharp had 10. Patty Mills had 11. Like all 5 starters had double digits. I just think right now, at the point right now, being that KD just went down, I think they're just trying to figure it out how they're gonna do with just Kyrie. With just Kyrie and James Harden, in my opinion. So,
7-0 run. Baseline, Griffin goes behind the back, and a major highlight. Griffin to the beard. Seconds to work with.
All right.
So, yes, of course, in the game, Cavaliers were led by Darius Garland, who is on a tear lately. He finished with a double-double, 22 points, 12 assists, 6 rebounds. He had concerted efforts from Laurie Markkanen and Jared Allen. Allen with a double-double, 14 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, as well as Markkanen, 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist. So you're not interested in Ben Simmons, basically. There's no traction there.
Absolutely not. We do not. No, we don't need the problems. We don't need them problems.
Why is it? So why is there a problem? Tell me why.
It's bad enough. It's bad enough. But for one, it's bad enough we can't even get Kyrie to play home games. Why do we need Ben Simmons to add to the issues we already had? We don't need that.
He can play them games in which.
I mean, there's not enough ball for Ben Simmons anyway, and he don't shoot. So I mean, why not add him to the team? And he'll be an assist man for KD, for Harden, for Kyrie. I mean, the thing that nobody does in the NBA anymore is play defense. It's like, where's the defense in the NBA? It's like, come on, man. Like, so yeah, I just the Nets they run and gun, but they don't play defense.
Kim, Ben Simmons to Brooklyn. You not with that?
Buying or selling?
I told you I would have sent him home already. I guess for me, I feel like when you're already dealing with Harden, we don't need any more emotions coming to the team. So, and I don't know. I don't know. I guess, people want to give him a chance. That's fine. But, it's very big on your team chemistry, on how people are, especially me as a coach. You can have a great player that's going to do certain things, but if they come to the team and start being a cancer or talking too much, or just the whole vibe is off, that can really kind of take your team in another direction. Yes, it's your job to handle it, but at the same time, how much can you handle it, especially when it comes to contracts and stuff like that? You can't just send them home now. So I just think about they have a really good chance, especially if Katie comes, when Katie comes back, if they can just kind of tweak it just a little bit, they have a really good chance to be successful. So why add additional issues? So, I mean,
I could agree with y'all. I could rock with y'all on it. It's of course it's content at this point, especially when they're talking about possibly James out of Brooklyn already, which I didn't fathom that initially, but I mean I guess other things happen. It's a business that it happens. Of course, what I'm saying, Applewhite, I got you, fam. So the Bulls, Chicago Bulls, faced off, traveled over to Memphis, took on the Memphis Grizzlies. The Grizzlies were victorious, 119-106, improving to 31-15. Bulls dropped to 27-15. DeMar DeRozan, of course, 24 points, no rebounds, 5 and 6 in 33 minutes of play. They did have about seven or eight players in double figures, but it wasn't enough for the Grizzlies. Ja Morant, 25 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Desmond Bane, their backcourt seems to be a hell of a 1-2 punch. Desmond Bane, 25 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. And the one of those out, and I don't know if y'all checked it out or noticed that currently Triple J, Jared Jackson Jr. has accumulated 25 blocks over the course of 6 games. So he's being a monster on the defensive end. Also, another highlight from last night, Ja Morant. Kind of feisty, if you ask me opinion. I know Josh, your man now, Bishop. You know what I'm saying? He was ready to throw them hands. He's not backing down for anyone. You had a couple of nights ago, Patrick Beverly, him and Patrick Beverly had a standoff. We all know how Patrick Beverly gets it in. And then last night he had a situation where he had to relent and let my man know I fight. You know what I'm saying? I fight. You know what I'm saying? So I get it in. So
like I'll put these hands on you. Don't make me put these paws on you. We Grizzlies.
You know
I put these paws on you.
So it's the grit and grind era back in Memphis. What y'all say?
They're the hottest team in the league right now. They're looking real good, and not too much on my Bulls now. Let's slow the roll on my Bulls now. But I mean, they're hot. They're playing well. Ja Morant's in the MVP conversation now. So Murray State racer. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Small time guy. So that's pretty good.
Of course, we had another game. The Phoenix Suns faced off against the San Antonio Spurs. Phoenix was victorious, 121-107, improving to 34-9. The Spurs dropped 16-28. Mike, you're out there. Bishop, yours too, also in San Antonio. Kim, you've been there, spent some time there. I'm very sure it's a different type of environment in San Antonio, or is it the same? Like, does the Spurs fans stay loyal, and are they thick and thin with this dismal time? And for the Spurs, or are they asking for Pop's head on the stake? What's going on down there in San Antonio?
I haven't heard too much of Pop, being ousted or anything like that. I think the team's just not good, and they have some good young players. They just they have no real veteran leadership, and you can get a lot of tickets to a Spurs game right now. Where in the past that was the hottest thing going. So there's just no. People here are used to winning. They're used to a Spurs team that wins, and now that they're not, it's getting pretty tough.
Of course, Jacob Potel was the leading scorer for San Antonio. 23 points, 14 rebounds in a double effort. But your man Devin Booker, 48 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists as he scorched the Nets last night. He was, of course, after the debacle with Toronto. I'm very sure we have Kobe fans on the panel. he did state that he lives by by Kobe and his mama mentality, but he is not Kobe Bryant. What do you think was the what do y'all get as the meaning in that? Was it fair for him to say that, or was it needed for him to say that, or should he just left it as it was?
Kim. Yeah, I'm assisting. I'm assisting.
There you
I
go.
can get.
I think I don't know. I hope people aren't trying to take it in a bad light. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He's just letting them know, like, he puts Kobe on a level that, like, don't even try to put his name and try to start doing the comparisons and all that. You know what I mean? I think he's a really great player, and I'm looking forward to him for the next few, seasons and years that he'll be playing. But the respect for Kobe is like, he's not Kobe. You know what I mean? Like, he probably has a little bit more time before that comparison comes up. And some people just put such people on such a high level that, they're like, look, don't start all that chatter to get it going. You know what I mean? Let that man rest in peace and let me play my game. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely, I totally agree with Kim too. I think Devin wasn't Kobe like mentoring Devin
Yeah,
Booker
yeah,
at the
yeah.
yeah,
time.
he's a
Yeah,
trainer.
so I'm sure Devin Booker definitely doesn't want people to put him in the same conversation with Kobe, his mentor, because like Kobe's been, he is what he is. We had the GOAT in Michael Jordan, and then we had the Black Mamba in Kobe. So it is what it is. Um, Devin Booker, I agree with Kim. Devin Booker is definitely gonna be that guy. As long as he can stay healthy and do what he continues to do, dropping almost 50. Like as long as he keep doing that and playing good ball, he has the tendency to be one of the greats. And we just don't want you to put him up there right now. He's not there yet, and he doesn't want people to have him you know being matched or being compared to one of the greatest to ever play the game.
Of course, just continuing that tree of Mamba mentality, the Milwaukee Bucks faced off against the Atlanta Falcons. Correction, the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks were victorious in this one, winning 121 to 114, improving to 18-25, while the Bucks fall to 27-19. Giannis Antetokounmpo 27 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, but the team was led by Chris Middleton, 34 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. The Hawks came back a 20-5 scoring effort to come back and win. Of course, Trey Trey Young finished the game 30 points, 11 assists, 9 rebounds. He had a help from DeAndre Hunter, 20 points, 9 assists, 2 rebounds. They made that run at the end and became out victorious. Do y'all think, Mike, I'll go to you. Do you think this is an opportunity now for Atlanta to try to kind of like light fire and kind of like heat up and make a run to get into, if not already into the playoff game, or do you think it's a little late now that they're about to have that little break? They could have did this a little earlier or waited till after the break.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good stepping stone. Beating a good Bucks team is always good, but the Hawks are just up and down. They're a little streaky. They haven't put it all together yet, but you got a floor general like Trey Young, leading the show. I'm interested to see what they do after the playoff break. I mean, after the All-Star break.
After the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Of course, the Toronto Raptors faced off against the Miami Heat. Excuse me, Miami Heat won 104-99 in an effort. Jimmy buckets a triple double, 19 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists in his return. Was right on time. The Fred VanVleet, who is seemingly getting his scoring game on, 22 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. If it's not him, it's Siakam that's basically making it work for Toronto. Unfortunately, in losing efforts, just another heartbreaker down in up in Miami for Toronto. The Trailblazers faced off against the Orlando Magic. Of course, what we thought would happen is happened. The Trailblazers were victorious, 98-88, improving to 18-25, while Orlando falls to a dismal 8-37. The Trailblazers were led by Nusif Nurkic, who had a double double, a grand double double with 21 points, 22 rebounds. He got help from CJ McCollum with 16 points in his first game back, 13 points from Nasir Little, and 13 points from Anthony Simons. Of course, the Magic were led by Franz Wagner, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and the rookie Jalen Suggs poured in with 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. And of course, to my own heart, the Los Angeles Lakers. Of course, LeBron was on. If y'all didn't hear a couple of games ago, Magic, Flame Magic, LA's everything, got up and talked about how he was disappointed as a Laker fan and a Laker legend in the efforts in which the Lakers were putting out. Of course, in grand fashion, Russell Westbrook got up and he said he's entitled to his opinion. LeBron came on yesterday and basically stated that he understands and he promises that the Lakers would do better. In their first game since that comment, the Lakers faced off against the Utah Jazz, victorious at the Crypto.com Arena, 101-95, improving to another 22-22, 500 season. Utah drops to 29-15. The Jazz was led by Mike Conley with 20 points, one rebound, 4 assists. The Lakers, of course, paced and led by LeBron James, 25 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, with a concerted effort from Stanley Johnson. Like, everyone's like, who's this guy? Of course, everyone knows who Stanley Johnson is for the most part. He was a standout high school player at Bishop Amat out of Las Vegas. Not Bishop Amat, I think of Bishop Montgomery, out of Las Vegas. He poured in 15 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. As the fourth quarter was his quarter, he put in that work. They didn't have an answer for him. He was doing everything from guarding Rudy Gobert to body him up. He just had he made it a game. Of course, we all know that Westbrook has athleticism. Another body caught, as well as a technical, as he talked that ish to Gobert, don't stand in the lane when I'm coming down. Basically, he told him, the ref teed him up. He talked the mess to the ref too. It was like anyone had anything to say, he had something to say back. The Lakers, with a concerted effort, improved, like I said, to 22-22. I ask you guys, Bishop, Kim, Mike, do you think LeBron can live up to this promise?
No.
Here you go.
No.
Nah,
let me talk to actual basketball people. Kim, does LeBron live up to this promise?
Well, LeBron is more than just LeBron that has to tap into what they got to do. You know what I mean? So in his mind, he can say, you right, we about to get to it. But if everybody's not going to get to it, or if we go back to all these turnovers, no defense, lackadaisical, not executing, then just going to have Magic mad again. So it's one of those things where they better figure it out, or there's going to be some major changes coming.
Spoken like a true coach, of course. Mike, I know you told, as you told us, you taught China how to play basketball. One of those things. Do you think? What's up with? Do you think is up with Russell Westbrook as that lackadaisical effort? Do you think that's just him and his personality, or do you think he really feels his way, or is he just masking something?
Man, Russ is a good player. Triple double king. It's just the chemistry, like Kim talked about earlier. The Marine Corps team at the tournament played very well because they had chemistry, and it's just for whatever reason the Lakers haven't figured out how to all three gel together with Davis and LeBron and Westbrook. And just and beyond just them, your role players all have to work together. Because there's so many good teams now, so many good players that one guy just isn't going to do it. So it's they have to figure out that chemistry. And obviously the Laker legends, with Magic, adding a little fuel to the fire, hopefully that gets them over the hump to figure it out. It's, I don't think it's him doing it to be, rude or mean or anything like that to the team. It's just, hey guys, we're seeing that you guys are playing as a team. Figure it out. And hopefully they do.
I think one thing that's kind of missing in today's game is, back in the day when guys would get drafted by certain teams, especially if that team had a legacy and championships and a lineage, they knew that name on their jersey on the front is what mattered. You know what I mean? And so now we don't have people really taking that serious anymore. Now they're more worried about the name on the back instead of representing the organization and what the lineage and legacy brings to that arena, to those fans, and playing because you want that to continue.
So, Kim, I ask you bring that up, and I ask you this, like, saying you've had a franchise or two in your own name, your own right. Have you had a situation where you've had a player that came in and it was more about that individual as opposed to the team?
Well, me personally, I feel it's about how you build the organization and the team. So when you're bringing people in, you need to see how they're going to fit with your philosophy and what you're trying to achieve. So a lot of times I did not go out and get the best all-star out of the city, because if my philosophy is still training, still working hard, still getting your conditioning intact, and you are like, practice. What you mean practice? Then me and you are not on the same page. You know what I mean? So I can't bring you in and have you buy into what I'm trying to do. No hard feelings. We good to go, but you probably couldn't play for me because it will be an issue. So when these GMs and top players are bringing people in, maybe they need to stop being like, ooh, if we put all these people together, then we can really be great. Yeah, they're great individually, but can they take the back seat, or can they become the second or the third person in line to achieve the goal? And that's really what's happening. No one wants to say, okay, you take the lead, I'll scoot over a little bit, or I'll come off the bench and I'll be that second wind of kind of aggressiveness, that second gas that we got to go with. They just all out there and being individuals. So for me, I feel like it's a disservice not only to the Laker brand, but everybody who came before them to watch some of the stuff that they do.
Of course.
I mean,
Mike, yeah, I was about to ask you, Bishop. I know you coached FBU for a second. What is from the AAU, from the younger aspect? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, of course, when it comes to the game, any sport, it's not about the individual. You know what I'm saying? It's about a team effort from everybody. You know what I'm saying? Nobody is bigger than the game itself or the team. So in regards to, LeBron saying, that they're going to make changes, LeBron can only speak for himself. Don't get me wrong. I know LeBron is a captain, is a mentor, and he's the face of LA right now, but LeBron can only play his game. Yes, can he help assist others to help them be better? Yeah, but they have to want to be better for themselves first. And I personally feel like I heard what Kim and I heard what Mike said in regards to, and I don't even think Kim said it, but Mike said they're trying to figure out themselves. But I feel like, Mike, we're almost in the halfway point, because we all know the All-Star break is next month in February. So if they haven't figured it out now, I don't know how much more figuring out they can do. I do understand that AD is on the bench with an injury, so forth and so on. But come on, like, they really should be able to figure it out by now. And Magic is just trying to keep the history of the NBA, or the history of the LA Lakers, prominent, keeping it relevant within the NBA organization, and as well as the LA Lakers history books as being one of the great teams, especially when you got 3 All-Stars on your squad and you're playing at a subpar level. You know what I'm saying? LeBron coming out and saying, we gonna do, you can do it better. I just feel like, he can say that, but he can only speak for himself. It's gotta come from everyone else that's, being a part of the team as well, to want to do their part to do better. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, well, what is the solution though? If they don't figure it out, are they gonna add more pieces? Are they gonna well, what are they going to do? I mean, it's if they don't hurry up and try to figure it out before the All-Star break or right after, they're going to be on the outside looking in.
which is
Which
which is a huge disappointment for that team. If they don't make the playoffs, that's a failed season, which shouldn't even be with a team of that caliber. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Well, I don't think they really play sports in California anyway. So I mean,
as the world turns. So one of the things, right? I see what Applewhite's talking about. Of course, what I'm saying, especially speaking to you, Kim, Lucretia, and a couple other people I know that have been in this semi-pro thing for the most part, in which you're not just the coach, you're the GM, you're the owner, you're the person that has to make sure to put butts in seats and stuff like that. So what is your standpoint? Saying, please, anyone that has owned the semi-pro team that might be paying attention or has been like at the forefront of let's say organizational decisions, whether it be sports or whatever case like that. What do you do in these instances where you've got to that person that we talk about, Kim, that doesn't buy into the philosophy, but they bring something to your team, or or on the opposite side of the spectrum where, as Apple was saying, you have a bunch of people who don't gel together, but they bring something to the team. Do you go forth and you try to make that work, or you just eliminate it altogether and be like, I'm not going to do this. Is my role, and that's what we're going to do. It's my squad. I'm finding the decision. What I mean, Kim, of course, I know. Like I saying, a couple of years you had the Saints. In those aspects, was it an easy situation where you was like, we're just going to go with my philosophy, or did you have to kind of wrestle internally with, I'm trying to make money, and they bring me money?
Well, I think it can't always. I think it can't always be just this is how it has to be. You know what I mean? I think you should have conversations. You should see where people are coming from. Why do they feel that they should have this position, this many minutes of playing time? What is holding them back from us being able to close out games? What is the problem? We're doing well 3 quarters, or we start late, so we always have to catch up in the second half. So what adjustments need to be made? And actually sitting down and talking to your captains, your leaders, the people that you actually depend on the most, get that information from them first, and then see how you can make an adjustment. I'm all down to make the adjustments because I brought you here for a reason. I don't want my investment to just go null and void. So I want you here, but what is the breakdown? So communication is key, I think. But then I'm also very adamant about film. So if you are complaining or you
Can't
are
lie. Don't
no,
lie.
I can't do this, or I did try. Okay, let's go sit and watch this film. And there's been many times where I've left people in the game when maybe I should have pulled them because I needed to prove to them in that film, this is why you are where you are on the lineup. This is why we are losing, because when I had you in there, or when I had these three in there and we were up by 12,
I
this
put you in.
lineup let us go down by 12. So a lot of times they're like, Coach, we need to put, hold on. We're going to get this on film. Because that's when people see that, now you're complaining, or you're really not good as you think you are. Or
say that.
You didn't do as much as you thought. You thought you killed. Well, let's look at this film. So for me, I think I'm more of a specialist in taking good to great players and putting them on a platform than trying to have an all-star team and making that my platform. You know what I mean? Like a Memphis, you know what I mean? I like the Phoenix Suns. Just they have Chris Paul and they have Devin Booker, but they got a lot of young guys that are just coming out hungry. You know what I mean? LeBron's not on their team. Westbrook's not on their team. Harden's not on their team. You know what I mean? So that's what I like to do. So I just think communication needs to happen, and they need to come to some resolve.
Of course, like I completely understand that, Kim, because I had plenty of times that I had to be like, "Yo, same thing." Pull out the tape or pull them stat sheets and be like, "Yo, look at this." Like, yeah, you scored 29, but you had 50. You put 52 shots up and you was like 13 to 52. I was like, come on, like you know, what I'm saying, like seriously, like you take a look at this and you have to break that down and put them sheets up. So, Mike, I asked you. I know you, like you said, you had a couple of teams. Have you faced the same thing, or even like AB, not to bring AB up again, like he said, brought up the fact that he felt like he was better than anyone else on the sidelines and on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Why wasn't he getting paid to such? So, had you have anything similar to where on your teams, the softball team, or even when you did the flag football team, where you had players on that same mentality, like they should be playing or they should be doing whatever, hence, especially if you were losing.
Obviously in sports, you always run into these types of issues, just because players want to be in the game. They want to play and they want their burn, and so yeah, you definitely have some issues like that, and then you have a coach that is trying to do the best that they can as well, and but yeah, I mean, it's just trying to figure out that team is over talent. I think is a lot of the team cohesion and teammates working together is always going to be having one talented player that is on the pedestal. And just in my experience of sports and playing competitive sports, the team cohesion is always better than just having the one talented player. So a little bit different for what we do, just because we provide sports for the veterans communities, just to get out of the house and reintegrate back into society, and mental health, and yeah. So ours is more recreation based, but we do have some competitive softball teams that play on the military softball circuit, and you do see some of that sometimes. But when you have a coach that's a volunteer, trying to do the best with a bunch of guys that are paying their way to play sports. These aren't guys that are getting paid to play sports. So I think that there's a difference in that as well. If I've spent $500 traveling to a tournament for the weekend, I think there does become some expectation of, well, I use my funds to get here, so I want to play. So it's just trying to balance all of that can be very difficult for sure.
Definitely. So, Kim, to going back to the MG33, who ended up winning? What was the final game? And please inform us and tell us about. I see a bunch of awards given out. So what was those awards? What was that? And as well as I heard about a very somber moment in which someone was awarded, I think, a Resiliency Award, where I was told that it was like everyone in the house was quiet, not you couldn't hear a rat walk across the floor. Like, please enlighten us for those that wasn't there to all those things in which took place.
Oh yeah. Well, the team that actually won, it was Team Marines in Colorado that were in the championship game. Team Marines pulled it out, and they are the MG33 Part 2 Dallas Fort Worth champions. And again, they played very, very well. And it was a very competitive game, very back and forth. So Colorado should not hold their head down, because they actually did a really great job. The Marines, they controlled the game most of the game. Colorado did make some runs. But even in tournaments, when you've played so many games, that fatigue does kind of kick in, so but no, Team Marines, congratulations to them. They did an awesome job and very professional and great organization. Coach David Anderson, Coach Willie Nathan, and Coach Edward Jacob should be very proud, and everybody should give them kudos as well to basically taking their team to the championship and winning.
What was the awards that was given?
Okay,
Was that like all?
Okay, so what I did was I'm big on recognition, and I'm big on I believe in the philosophy of people remember how you made them feel, you know what I mean? And so just making an impact, something small could really change someone's life, the way they look at things, or even help them push to another day, especially with mental health. So I did a coaches leadership award because everybody's not going to make it to the finals, everybody's not going to make it to the semifinals, but I still wanted every organization to be represented and show some type of thanks to each player in each organization. So each coach picked one person from their team that they felt showed leadership, sportsmanship, maybe was the voice of the team. And it didn't have to be the best player. It could just be the person who was all around. You do everything I need you to do and everything I ask you to do, and you really are the light of the team. So I had that award. Also for the finals, I had, of course, the all tournament team. So I gave that out to 5 players, as well as the tournament MVP, which was Beverly from the Marines. He was actually their tall post player, had a couple dunks, but I mean, he just played so well, so composed. In every game, he was just always in there grinding. Never flinched really. But then the main award that you're talking about, the Resiliency Award, is something that I wanted to reach back because a lot of times people move forward with life, and even in the sense of Mariko, people just go on with their life and they forget. You know what I mean? Like, this person was your friend, this person was your teammate, but you move on with life, and no one ever really tries to still keep your memory alive. Or sometimes people don't reach back to those people who are not playing basketball anymore. So a few years back, we were all at a tournament, and Fort Bliss was there. They are from Texas, and when they left the tournament, they actually got into a really bad, fatal accident. And so, out of everybody on the van, Joseph and one other person were the only 2 that survived. So we actually lost two families, husband and wives, and CT and AK, and then both of their wives. Um, and so when I thought about doing the award, I know he hadn't been around military basketball since that all happened. He had to learn how to walk again. They didn't know if he was going to be paralyzed. He was in the hospital for a very, very long time. And I know it was tough for him to even get through it. You know what I mean? And so I reached out to him and I said, hey, do you mind, accepting this award? Because at the end of the day, he did make it through. He is walking. He did finish his master's degree. He does still play a saxophone. He's still a father. He's still a husband. And I wanted him to know, like, I know you carry that. I know you carry that every day. But at the same time, we haven't forgotten you. We haven't forgotten what you brought to our lives when we all would get together and play basketball and have these tournaments. And so he flew down and he accepted the award. And it was very emotional because his coach at the time, one of his coaches at the time, was actually there coaching another team. So even in that, he was able to see the coach that went through all those, that hurt and that sorrow as well. And he probably hadn't seen him since all that happened. So everything really comes full circle. And I know a lot of times people don't understand, why I do certain things, but I guarantee you, him going home and him being able to face that moment, because he was very nervous about coming. He was like, I didn't know if I wanted to come, but the love he got shown, and now that he knows, like, yo, we're always your family. Like, come on, you know what I mean? You don't have to be alone in this. And the fact that he said, he didn't want to go on some days, but because we reached out to him, because he got a text message or someone was praying for him, now he's able to be in the place that he is. So that really meant a lot to me, and I'm glad that it meant a lot to him. And you just never know if that was something that just helped him heal a little bit more,
Yeah, so that's
Sure.
and of course, saying definitely hats off to that situation. It was unfortunate. Like I said, I wasn't able to be there, but like I said, I did hear about it and how it touched and moved a couple of my frat brothers, in which he was discussing and
It
talking
did,
about it.
Trey. It
And I
did.
was about to say, yeah, Bishop, go ahead, because I was about to ask
It,
you about it.
yeah, it was. I don't know if tears were shed or not, but I could see why, and if they were, I can understand why. Um, it was definitely a touching moment because I feel like for a person like himself, who I'm sure was very passionate about the sport, and to travel from wherever it is he traveled from to come out there to Fort Worth, it almost feels like he probably in some way kind of had to relive it in a way because of the fact that it happened during travel. So that's hard. That has to be hard. And I completely respect that from him. I take my hat off to him for being able to go through that and still, be able to come to the tournament and show, hey, you can make it through things like this. And man, it was touching. Um, I appreciate you, Kim, for doing something like that of that magnitude for such a person in his family that he probably needed that. You know what I'm saying? To get that might have been that one last hurdle that he and his family may have needed to get past that. And it was an amazing scene at that point. And yeah, um, myself and a couple of guys from the faculty we was just like, wow. When it's all said and done, for a moment, we forgot all about the game of basketball. We focused on what was at hand, and even with that such an injury which he had to, like you said, he had to learn how to walk and do all those things again. That's a mental aspect. We always talk about mental health. That's a point where you have to lean on your frat brothers, your teammates, your coaches, your family, your friends to come through for you and help you get through those trying times, those tough hurdles to get back online. So yeah.
Yeah, just it really just speaks to the power of sports. How sports can bring us together, how we can heal and show support to those that we love through sports, and it's mostly why I do what I do. Through sports and outdoors and recreation. And you know Kim has even come and volunteered for us in the past. When I was just getting started. So it just speaks to a perfect testimony of the person that was, not only has supported what I've done in the past through volunteering, but now the platform that she has also to still give back and support a fellow military veteran family. That's awesome.
It definitely, and I second that motion. Like I went out and got a degree in sports marketing. I went out and got a degree in sports marketing, so that way I could try to be able to deliver. I've always been a person that thinks engagement is like key, so I try to do anything which I do. I try to be engaging in it, and like just like Mike was saying, sports is very powerful. It's a very powerful tool in which how you bring the people together, camaraderie, to be in the trenches, competitiveness, like all that adds to a story. Like big on storytelling, adds to a story to be told, in which of course when you have a bunch of people that get together and are able to give their collaborative efforts to put things together, make things happen, ideals and all that type of stuff, like a whole melting pot of things, it's magical. And what I'm saying, something like just what the bishop was talking about, and how we give Kim her flowers and all this, and for this, what I'm saying, that just goes to show, like, you have people out there that are doing things that no one knows about, or what I'm saying, or no one has the ideal or inkling of that. Saying Mike, saying he has this whole thing. He has chapters of saying where he just talked about over 150 hunting trips that have been put together. That's saying that all speaks to the resiliency. It may not be a thing, my thing. It may not be Bishop's thing. It may not be Kim thing, but saying it's adaptive. It's something.
Someone's
It's someone thing, or even it
Don't knock
gives
it till you try it.
it teaches you something. It shows you something. Like for the life of me, I might not be like, I'm not with going to hunt, and then I might go find something else out of it that's different from my next man. And saying that's the whole ideal of it. Saying to be released. Saying putting in time in the military, like saying over saying over 5 years. Hell, to be honest, a first enlistment can do wonders, like for people that have sit up and did a couple of years, the things you've done, the people you connect with, who you see, what you see. Like I hadn't sit up and thought, like I was sitting in Bosnia in 1999. I was in Bosnia. I was there for Operation, oh correction, intrinsic action. I was there, and to sit up and look at people, kids, all huddled around one point to where the water is coming from a small pipe that's coming up out of the ground. I had this. I was taken back from it. I was a young PSC or young specialist, and I'm looking at this and like, yo, this is like crazy. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Compton, California, but you know what I'm saying. So in any case, of being a kid from Compton, California, I would have never thought to sit up and see anything like this. Like I'm looking, like this is stuff you see on TV. Like I'm for the like for the life of me, I to see it and I'm looking at it, or I'm sitting up, standing on in a observation tower, watching people, kids playing in potential minefields and watching them come up to the gate and people like all the things in which you see, you know what I'm saying, in from a military standpoint or any of that type of stuff. But you deal with things and you need certain things like MG33 military tournament, or you know what I'm saying, hero sports hunting trips, or to go to the games, or to go to an event, to be to network with your fellow brothers and sisters in arms and those that support. It does something, it helps something. So I continue to commend y'all guys, and you know what I'm saying, and push that line, and when that come to it, and hopefully, you know what I'm saying, there's opportunities where if not all of us get together or something, you know what I'm saying, just continue that network to where, you know what I'm saying, it continues to build something, and add to that link in that chain.
Yeah, no, and I played in the military basketball system for a while, and played on the Fort Sam team, and we used to travel up to Wichita Falls, for the MLK tournament that they used to host there, and played with and against a lot of good players, Paul Parker. I don't know if you guys know Paul, but Paul was a running buddy of mine, and we played the Joe Hall tournament down here at Lackland, and I don't know what happened to San Antonio basketball, but it seems like Lackland and Fort Sam kind of fell off this year, I guess. But
they was in the tournament. They was in Kim's tournament.
Yeah, but
they in the tournament?
Did they make any noise? No. Okay. Weird. Long silent pause.
What'd you say,
No,
Kim?
I was gonna say Paul actually was at the tournament. He brought his Fort Campbell team down. And he actually even played a little bit.
Oh yeah, he still got it, man.
Happy to see him. Yeah. No, I think to be honest, I'm not even gonna play. It's hard to keep a program together, especially with the funding. The funding is not there like it's been there. And you're talking about when we used to go to the MLK, I was a part of that. They had women and men. They had 10 women's teams and 20 men's teams. It was crazy. But the funding, and I think how people are having a PCS and move around, and then also a lot of these bases, especially in San Antonio, are going, they're gearing more civilian as far as what they are filling in these spots. So it's not like a Fort Bragg or something like that that's all military mostly. Now, your Joint Base San Antonio, when you go, you're seeing a lot of civilians working in these offices and in these positions. So they don't have as much to pick from as they used to when we were there.
Yeah, well, in the softball, in the military softball side of things, they allow active duty National Guard reservists, veterans, and then they also allow spouses, DOD contractors, GS civilians. Is that the same in basketball?
Yeah, they do this. They do allow the same, but I am going to say that when it comes down to softball and basketball, softball is going to get the money first.
Yes.
And I hate to say that. I hate to say that, but I'm just being real. And y'all know what it is. If it comes down to support from the base, softball is going to get their trip paid for. They're going to get their tournaments taken care of. And then basketball, they will do something, but it is going to be on that secondary type of support. And
so being I currently work in that system for military sports, being on Fort Polk as a SFA intramural. I'm the intramural director. I'm the intramural sports specialist for the installation. So what I do know for a fact, and what Kim was talking about, there is a difference. There is a disparity a little bit from that aspect. But I know here on Fort Polk, I've been like an advocate on trying to make sure there's an even playing ground. Even one, we both don't get the same, or two, we both get the same. And so what it comes out is, of course, in military sports, especially intramural and above intramural, the funding isn't there. So the armed forces, and from my understanding, don't quote me on this, but I understand is armed forces is starting to see a step back from committing funds to those organizations. And what it has come out to be is now those organizations have to become private organizations, to where they have to go forth and raise that money themselves, i.e., why you don't have a team called Fort Hood, now it's called Central Texas Basketball, or or in those items, because now they're privately funded, in which they do fundraisers and stuff. They might get the support, but the support is only to a certain amount. There's no more paying for trips, because it becomes expensive, and if it's not budgeted, then it's not going to happen. And but so initially, for the longest time, the only thing Fort Polk had was a softball team, in which they did get a couple of dollars here and there because it was the money was there. But as of right now, like, that's not the case. Like, they're definitely a self-funded organization, in which I can live with that, as long as that's the same
Across the board,
rhetoric across the board. In which, of course, if I say, oh, I want to budget $5,000 for a basketball team, then I have to be looking at budgeting $5,000 for the basketball team, a softball team, a swim team, a soccer team, anything in which, saying, these teams want to get together and fund for funding. So it's definitely a change in the spectrum, like Kim was talking about, across the board when you talk about the armed forces and sports. Above intramurals, that is definitely a change, and where now you're starting to see less of it. The funding is like, yeah, we can set up and charge X amount or installation, or outside the installation, charge you an arm and a leg, like Kim said on an earlier show. If you knew what she was paying, and from what Bishop was saying, North Crowley High School, a couple of courts, state of the art equipment. It looked like they need, saying, they're running that stuff. They need bill. They got to pay bills too. So those type of things, which is coming, is definitely changing the spectrum on how sports and military sports is seen. So just a little soliloquy from being an insider, so to speak. So, but you were about to say something, Mike? I'm sorry.
Well, that's one of the main things that we get asked to do too. Is military sports teams, requesting funding. And obviously, I try to support as many teams and veterans and service members as I can through sports. But that is our number one request is the base is not helping any funding anymore. We need help trying to continue this team to play on a competitive level. It's just, I do as much as I can for as many as I can. It's just, I can't pay for, 30 softball teams and 20 basketball teams and, all the other different sports that we do, just because across the spectrum we do a lot of different types of sports. But that has, in the last 2 years, probably been the number one thing that we've been requested is help funding sports teams at different bases.
Well, the thing too is the thing that you do well, Mike, is the fact that you may not necessarily have it to give to everybody, but you're going to provide an avenue. So you're going to say, hey, if you can come and work this venue, I can get you with the PLC. You can get you some people together. You can volunteer for this game. And therefore, this can be a fundraiser. So you're going to tap them in to how to be able to raise that fund. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you for that, because I've watched you do that. I've watched you be able to use you and your connections and be able to do a fundraiser and actually make some money for their organization. I think one thing that we have to think about, and a lot of people don't, is we have to be more vocal about it. And it's even the players and the coaches, but also the leadership. You have a guy who's all Air Force, all Army, all Marines, all Navy. There's no way that base should not know about that. You know what I mean? And understand, I may not be into swimming, but that may be someone else's way to get to the next day. So just because me as a commander or me as a first sergeant is not into swimming, that doesn't make it less important to the person swimming. You know what I mean? So I need to understand, like, okay, this is for my soldiers, this is for my service member, and this is what they love to do, and actually tap into it instead of being like, oh well, I'm only a this type of guy, I'm only a basketball guy, so I don't care about softball or vice versa. One thing I will say though about in the San Antonio area is for the longest they did push a lot of stuff and we did go a lot of places. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I won't necessarily just put it on San Antonio. I'll probably put it on the transitions that you don't have. I mean, because Randolph doesn't even have a team anymore. Brooks went down to the bare minimum. So I think it's just a transitional period of trying to get it back going and tapping into those people in that area. But no, San Antonio was the mecca. You know what I mean? And they put in a lot of work on both ends. So we definitely, won't forget all the work that they've done. It's just transition of trying to find the right players and the people to push the programs. And
Yeah.
Coach Cal has been down there for a minute at Fort Sam. He won the military finals, the first one. But he's probably going to be in transition because he's, going to be moving. So again, now, okay, who's going to take that volunteer spot? Who's going to go help? It's tough, you
For
know.
sure. Yeah, for sure. I've always been a big proponent of helping those that want to help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're willing to come do the volunteer time to help raise some money, then I'll help fund your team. It's just I think the expectation now is I just want to show up and play, and I don't want to help.
That's definitely the expectation.
Yeah. I just want to show up and play. I don't want to help show up and play and also help raise the money to get us to the
That's
event.
that's what took so long. That's what took so long for the poke. Like when I first submitted that and told them that's what they was on. They was like, no one wants to. They just want to show up and play, and no one wants to put in that effort. So it took, saying appreciation to Sergeant First Class Africa, and, saying and Claiborne and them took them to go ahead and galvanize and get people together and let them know, like, hey, this is what we're looking at. This is if y'all want to do it. This is what we got to do. Now Fort Polk has a team, so I stand behind them, even if I can't from my professional standpoint or my, as from my personal standpoint, I stand behind them and look forward and helping them and getting them in the same, being consistent, at least while I'm here, because at some point I'm going to leave Fort Polk and then that'll be behind me and on to the next place, and I'll be trying to do whatever I can at the next place in which I am. So definitely, appreciate good talk or whatever case like that. So
I know we're getting short on time, but before we go,
yes,
man,
sir.
I just want to know, Miss Green, what's coming up? I know you and I spoke at the tournament, and you were saying people were coming at you asking about what for you to do a third one tournament. Have you considered that? I know I know today's only Tuesday. I don't know if you even thought about it yet or anything of that nature. What's next for you in the basketball organizations and stuff like that?
I have thought about it. I'm still in the process of thinking as well, but I'm a visionary. You know what I mean? I'm a visionary. I'm kind of not scared to try something and see how it's going to turn out. To say, hey, you just never know, because look where it is now. The first year he passed away, I put it together in a couple of months, just off a whim. I want to do it. Let's try to do it. And now here we are, 5 tournaments later. You know what I mean? And bigger and better. So this year, I said I want to do 2 cities, and between October and now, I did 2 cities. I don't know what I be thinking. I need to, go to therapy or something, because I be tripping. Like, girl, why did you do that to yourself? But
Right.
um, Dallas is a place that he used to come down to, and he come visit, we hang out or whatever the case may be. And it was a central location to where a lot of people could actually come. The Atlanta area, that's actually where his mother stays. So I said, hey, that would be dope to do an East Coast one, get the East Coast teams involved. And so he made his transition in California. So I said, well, I might have to go to San Diego and just kind of
Nice.
full
That's funny you say
circle.
that.
Nice.
That's
And
funny
I
you
was
say
like,
that.
so the wheels are turning, balloon release on the beach, all these
Ooh,
events that
boy, she on
mean
it.
something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a lot of people when you're doing this, it's not that you need the kudos. It's not that you need somebody to tell you that you're doing a good job because you're doing it from your heart and you're doing the right thing. But it can get tough when like you kind of you trying to stand tall and dealing with everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so at one point I thought about it. This is just gonna be my last one. It's a lot dealing with all these different personalities and all this, and I just want it to be fun. I don't want no politics in it. I want it to be fun. I want to touch lives. That's what I want to do. And so I actually thought this might be the last one, but then I also thought about it and I was like, no, my purpose is to touch lives. And if I touch one life, then whatever anybody else feels, then that's kind of on them. You know what I mean? And so yeah, so I'm gonna try to do that California thing. I'm gonna try to do that California thing. So we'll see how
Yay,
that.
yay.
Hey, let's go. We're starting.
Are y'all coming to California?
Man, we'll be there, man. Let us go with it.
I think we can make that happen. San Diego. I mean, it ain't my neck of the
Especially San
woods.
Diego.
We about 2 hours away to the north, but you know what I'm saying. I definitely think that would be something to
Well,
pull up
San
to.
Diego got that huge naval base and stuff like that. So
Yeah, we
San
need
Diego
you
is
out there,
beautiful.
Mike.
Yeah, what do
Yeah,
you got planned, Mike?
San Diego's nice. I do know that. I actually 11 attended the Michigan State North Carolina game on the ship, and that was really dope. And it's a huge military city, so
Yep.
like I told you, Kim, a long time ago. If you ever need help, I'm always here. Just give me a call, let me know. I'm in San Antonio, but Dallas isn't too far, and if I can assist, I would always be happy to help. So
Thank you, thank you.
yeah.
What you got on your agenda, Mike?
What's that?
What do you have on your agenda? What's coming up for
Oh
Vision Sports?
man, we got lots of hunting and fishing. Softball season's about to kick off for the military, so the first tournament is in Albuquerque in March. Then we go to Columbus, Georgia in April, Colorado Springs in June, and there's one in Virginia, I think, in August. And then Military World Softball Tournament, the largest military softball tournament in the world, approximately 150 teams, is in Vieira, Florida, in September. So,
150 teams, Mike?
what's that?
Did you say 150 teams?
Yeah, between the different divisions, military A, military B, intramurals, women's, co-ed, over 40, over 50, from around the world. Yeah, it's about 150 teams. So, softball is huge. We're a big part of military softball. Obviously we do golf outings, like usually once a month. So we're golfing somewhere. We're expanding services and community-based softball teams. We're growing in like Shreveport, Louisiana, Clovis, New Mexico. So we're starting.
Baby.
Yeah, so we're starting some community-based teams there. We've been growing in Fresno, California, and we're doing tons of stuff through sports for the military, for our active duty service members, and for our veterans. So, obviously, I get stretched thin, like Kim was saying. It can be a lot all the time, trying to give your time to everybody and support back those that are supporting you. But we've built a tremendous network of those who support us, and if I can ever use my talents to support others, will greatly do so.
So, Mr. Greene, Miss Barker, Miss Green, Mr. Barker, if y'all could, where can people find y'all if they want to get into softball or anything you have at Heroes or Miss Green? Where can they find you? Please leave it in the comments below, or you can put it right here on the platform right now that we're on.
Yeah, ours is easy. Herosports.org, Facebook, Instagram. Shoot us a message. It'll come to me. I reply to all of them. So it's not some random person answering it. It'll be me. I do all the basically direct veteran service member interaction. So it's makes it easy.
Ms. Green?
Yes, I am on Facebook. I am Kimberly Nicole. Or you can actually email. It's kind of like long, but it is work, eat, dominate, sports at Gmail. That's like a little saying that I made up when I was coaching. And so, yeah, that's kind of like one of my mottos. So,
Like that. I like that. Work, eat, dominate, you said?
because if
I
you
like that.
work,
Work,
you're
eat.
gonna eat. If you work, you're gonna eat. And then if you eat, you're gonna dominate the game. So all those coincide together. So
I like it.
Hey Bishop, I hear that your organization has something going on too. The 22nd of this month. Interest meeting
Oh,
you were saying?
Oh yeah, of course. Cyber 5 Military Fraternity Incorporated. We do have our interest meeting on Zoom. We will put out the link, so be sure to follow Cyber 5 Military Fraternity Incorporated on Facebook as well as on Instagram. And come out for those that may be interested in still being a part of that camaraderie, that brotherhood, that bond that we had in uniform, outside of uniform. So again, the interest meeting will be on the 22nd of this month, which is this Saturday actually. It is this that Saturday. At what time is it at? I don't have the time. Do you know the time?
1800, 6 p.m. Central Standard.
There it is.
I think I saw.
Yeah, okay, 1800 Central Standard Time, 6 o'clock for you. Well, no, it don't matter because you got to be military. So it is what it is.
And make sure y'all wrap that up real quick, though, so you can see the Packers beat the 49ers. So I'm just saying.
So of course that's that's our time today. We greatly appreciate Miss Kim and Mr. Mike Barker, Kim Greene coming on. To share with us what they got going on, how they doing things in those military and their own communities. We look forward to the bigger and greater things. Of course, I would say support from First Formation, Cyber 5, or whomever, which we can all connect to make things happen. Of course, it's bigger than basketball. It's bigger. Sometimes it's just bigger than sports, but it all correlates and relates and gets together. Of course, it's been a grand day. Be sure to tune in with us tomorrow. Special guest. I believe it'll be Ashley Robinson. Of course, we all know Ashley, or Bishop is going to meet him, but special guest Ashley Robinson will be on talking about what he's got going on for Wednesday. Thursday we have no other than Rodney Jordan to talk about what he's got going on in his world and what he's doing to help veterans. We just want to keep it going, giving that content out there where you get to see people, talk to people, interact, engage. Talk a little sports. People can add there, just like Mike keeps on adding his his unadulterated bias to the fallacies in the NFL, but it is what it is. We greatly appreciate everyone looking out, and we'll holler at y'all tomorrow. So at this point, show attention, fall out,
roll, fight.